What's up, people? It's live Q&A time. We're gonna crush it. I think I got 3 questions that I'm gonna hit up. So, wherever you're coming in from, what's up? What up? Say hi. Tell me where you're from. What's up, 13 rando nestrata? What up, VT log cabin? I love a good log cabin. What's up, Carrie? Hi. What's up, greywater? What up, what up, what up, Carolyn, Carson, KC, the 13th, the Holistic Crystals, what up, baby? What up, Katie loves Hawaii, McCormick, Micken, Middle, Ireland, hello. Hello, Ireland, how are you doing? It's grand. It's a bit of crack. We're gonna have some crack. How's that? I like that. That felt good. What up, Brianna, or Breon? What's up, K. Lee Marks? How you doing? Saskatchewan, Left Field Wellness. What up? Hi, Miss V. Hi, Little Space Babe. LS Purdence. Okay. So we're going to do a little live Q&A. I've got some questions here. We're going to roll into it. We're going to jump on it, as they say. Jump on it. Jump on it. If you guys don't know that song, that's probably based on the fact of my age. Okay. Ready? Everyone says I chase my partners away. I love hard and fast. I've been this way since I can remember. My philosophy is that the right person won't be turned off or run away from my style of love. It feels inauthentic to try to change too much, but my relationship failures are starting to mount up. At what point do I change? Well, let's first off explore that here's one thing that we know to be true is that you are the common denominator in all your relational outcomes. When you're like, relationships are drama, you're probably drama. You're like, relationships are this, you probably contribute to that, right? Like we are active participants in all of our outcomes. And a lot of people get kind of triggered by this thought that like, even if our relationships end with certain experiences, we still on some level contribute to that. And I'm not victim blaming, which is very different. I'm saying that there is some sense you can be a victim of something and still find some level of awareness from that experience. Not responsibility for abuse and things like that, obviously. So that's the first part of this that I think is really important to acknowledge, that there is a level of responsibility that the person asking this question is taking, and I love it. I think that's incredible. So I chase my partners away. I love hard and fast. That's a classic line. Like, I just love all out. That's just who I am. Like, I can't help it. If you're not into loving all out, then love out. Get out of here, out the door. And so first off, that style, my philosophy is the right person won't be turned off or run from my style. That style is often kind of bulldozy. And what I mean is that energetic is not open to feedback. Like it's like, this is just who I am. If you don't love who I am, then bye. And sometimes that can be because we think we're too much. We're afraid that we're going to push people away, or we're like, I'm afraid that I'm too much. And instead of learning how to contain myself, learning actually how to hold on to sometimes chaos and sometimes emotions that I don't know how to hold, I spill them into relationship. I just allow them to bulldoze and spill, right? So this is about learning, because we talk about boundaries in the context of preventing people from hurting us, right? Keeping negative behavior out. But boundaries are also about containment, containing self, containing where someone hasn't earned the right yet to me just loving them all out. It's like, wait, no, they haven't earned that. They haven't, and this is learning discernment. And healing from any form of trauma, like one of the first parts of that is realizing we have a choice. And so it's starting with these small choices, like I'm going to make my bed every day, and then starting to do that. And so this is that opportunity, if this resonates with you in any way, is to say, where do I not hold on to myself and start to spill it into other people? Because when everyone says I chase my partners away, there's a good likelihood that I do. right? That still my sort of childhood energetics are being projected onto my partner. And so if we want to talk, let's talk about codependency. I mean, that is ultimately codependency, right? Codependency is one person needs to be needed and the other person needs. And there's not a delineation between self and other, you know? And yeah, sometimes it is work. Listen, relationships are effort. They require effort. And at the same time, it's like you put in the investment, you expand. You put in the investment, you expand. You get to experience this sort of stasis that expansion provides. But if you don't take or accept the invitation to expansion, then you won't be in a state of peace. So if you find that relationships are not inherently often peaceful, but not always, but if you say that they're not peaceful, it's likely because you haven't accepted an invitation to a different way of being. You haven't said, oh, I got a boundary I got to learn how to do. You know, I gotta learn how to stand up for myself. I gotta learn how to tell the truth. I gotta learn how to hold on to myself and contain myself. I gotta learn boundaries to say, fuck that. But if you don't learn those things, your relationships will be chaos because you have not expanded into some form of invitation. So the chaos is really the dysregulation that's saying, hey, we know that we gotta do something different. We know that we gotta be different. And if you're not being different, if you're not having a conversation you know you need to have, if you're not stepping up the way you should, then you're going to feel chaotic. You're going to feel chaotic. And that's because you're bouncing off the walls, waiting to walk through the fucking door you're bouncing into. Walk through it. Grow up. And I don't mean that from like a condescending like, grow up. I mean it from literally grow up. Literally move from childhood being stuck in a space and like actually raise your fucking game, rise. And this is about pursuing your dreams. This is about all the things. Why am I yelling? Because I give a fuck. Because I'm passionate and I'm just excited. You want to hear yelling. This is yelling! That's totally different. I'm just enlivened. Because I care. Because it matters to me. You know? So you could tell that yelling's actually way different. It was a lot louder. I bet you had to fucking move your phone away. You're like, ow, that's a lot, right? It was a lot. I get it. So sorry if I hurt your ears. All right, second question. I'm working hard on my anxious tendencies thanks to you and Sylvie. Sylvie created the Attachment 101 course, which is fucking amazing. She's incredible. She's the attachment queen. So let's get back into this. And links in my bio. She's going live today for everyone registered in the course. I'm working hard on my anxious tendencies thanks to you and Sylvie. I found an amazing guy who is clearly very secure. My problem is that I'm not seeing the same excitement as previous relationships. Does security always feel boring? Not always, but I'd say that like you got to start to see that like what you might have coded as true, passionate, crazy love could be insecurity, could be, all these other things. It could be insecurity. It could be unreliability. It could be all these other things, right? So it's not that they're boring. It's that like safety and reliability might not be seen as sexy, right? You know, like it's like that sometimes when we're like, hey, they show up, you're like, man, this person like messages back all the time and they like show up when they say they're going to, and it's great. But you know, I kind of like how uncertainty gets me a little erotic, you know, that it like makes me like, I'm not sure that they want me, so then I want them more kind of shit. When you begin to separate from that style, from that wound, being attracted to unreliability, you will no longer want to bang unreliability. But do you notice how you can consciously know I no longer want to bang unreliability? And so you are like, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's not healthy. I'm not going to chase people who run from me. Okay, logically, great. I don't like Brussel sprouts. I don't eat fucking Brussel sprouts. It should be that simple, right? But it's not, because there's a deeper healing that needs to occur, and there's also a growing up that needs to occur. So what happens is we go, I don't want to choose, I will not choose unavailability anymore. And then a lot of you, because I've been you, will say, I'll try. And you know what Yoda says about trying. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. And what you'll start to see is that, like, you really want to go down on someone who's reliable. You really want someone to go down on you who's reliable, right? Reliable, at least in that sense. But, like, reliable because all of a sudden you're like, if shit goes irie, I know that you'll be there for me. If shit goes off, I know that you'll be there. And all of a sudden your body is able to exhale and breathe, and you're able to trust them more in this intimate space too, right? That, like, all of a sudden now you can trust them in this other space. And what happens is you're like, your body surrenders in such a different way. And so where maybe there was arousal found from unavailability, now there's arousal found from reliability. But what I didn't finish saying before is you got to learn how to let go of the pursuit of the unreliability, not just on a logical level, but literally. And the moment that you're about to make the change and not continue the behavior is usually where you stop, because you've never been past that edge where you've chosen yourself so fully and said no to the addiction. You can do this about any addiction. And so you say no to the thing, and you're just on the edge of expansion where you've never been before, and you fucking keep your word, and you boom, you expand, you become a different person. And never again, like the old ceiling becomes the new floor. And never again do you have to go back to that level of awareness. But it requires the full integration and growing up and becoming of everything that you know you can be. And that means standing in a truth that is so important for the quality of your life that at some point you finally say no more, and you don't have to wait till it's so painful that you have to. You can literally just be this much disappointed, this much in pain, and you can say no more. And you can finally do the thing, and you can stop going back to the random bang, to the friends with benefits, to the thing. Whatever, if you want those things, go bang away, go run right into them. Boop, chow away. But I'm saying if you want something else, and that's one of your old patterns, is you actually now are growing and expanding, and it really has to be in a space where you are unwilling to go to painful sort of recreations of past ways and behaviors. Okay. Let's get into the next question. Last week, I slept with someone that I had been dating for a few weeks. Things felt right, and I thought he was on board for this next step. However, since then, he's pulled away. We've previously gone over attachment styles, so I know he's mostly avoidant. Is this his avoidance, or is he just not interested anymore? This is challenging because it appears as though he's not interested in, like, it can be both, right? It can be both. In that someone cannot be interested anymore, and because they don't know how to have that conversation, they actually just pull away. So it's their avoidance. The way they handle insecurity and conflict in conversation is actually withdrawing. You know? And so as you think about this, right? As you think about this, it's like, okay, so things were good. One line here, though, is I thought he was on board for the next step. That really doesn't sound like there's a lot of clarity. There's an assumption made there, and there's also this idea that the next step is intimacy on a deeper level. Totally fair. But I would say I would get clarity before I enter that next space. You know the person's avoidant. I'd look at their relational patterns. You know, it's like, we've previously gone over attachment. I know he's mostly avoidant. Is he avoidant, or is he just not interested? I would just get clarity. You know, this is just about being honest. This is about just saying, where are you at? I know that you're prone to being avoidant. I'm feeling like this is avoidance. Can you give me more clarity? Are you interested in pursuing something? Your space that you've created, the space that you've created is indicating to me the assumption I'm making, because I'm more prone to anxiety maybe, or just being a realist, is that you're not interested. Or you're not interested in going in the next step, the next space. Look, like this is challenging, right? Because this requires taking responsibility and having deep communication for you as well, saying, hey, and that, I don't know that that's too much work, because I don't think it's too much work, because I think it at least challenges us to go to our edge to get clarity, where we're no longer operating on assumptions, which is often what anxiously attached people do. And if we can turn towards that conversation, regardless of the outcome of the conversation, what we're doing is we're learning to trust ourselves more, and we're learning that we have our own back. And so you hear me say that the victory is not in the outcome. It's not in the question, the reply you get to the communication. It's in the process of communicating. You don't speak so that you can get an answer. You speak to hear your own voice. It's the speaking that is the transformation. It's the sharing of, it's the communicating. And you might not get all the words right in the right order, but that's okay, because that's how you learn it. That's how you learn how to talk. That's how you learn how to communicate, is you say, hey, listen, I notice you're pulling away, or that you've been distant since we were intimate. Can I get a little clarity? And then they give you clarity. And if they don't, then you're like, bye. This is not the level that I am accustomed to, and it's not a standard of communication. Like, we're both adults. Let's have an adult conversation. We were adult enough to have sex. So can we be adult enough to do the aftercare that intimacy requires? And I think one thing we don't say enough is what we actually are going to need after we are intimate with someone. Like, hey, if we're going to go to that space, that's a really important space to me, a sacred space. And so here's some of the aftercare I require. I need to, you to message me, tell me that, this, and this, and what do you need? Now, this is pretty big adulting. Let me just be clear. Not a lot of people do this. This is new. This is new. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Not everybody wants a deeply connective relationship. Some people want more what someone else might call a surface level relationship, or one that lacks communication and depth. Some people just want both people to shut the fuck up and watch TV. Some people just want that. Some people don't want to hear how they need to grow, or how they need to communicate better, or that they need to change. Some people don't want that. They just want to go through their life buying more shit and avoiding the pain that makes them the way they are. And some of us, and this is not a judgment, but some of us, and this isn't an othering or anything, it's just that some people want relationships to be a space of growth and expansion, and they want deeper levels of intimacy and vulnerability. And they're like, wait, I can heal through being in relationship with you. Amazing. Can you heal through? Yes, you can heal through being in relationship with me. And so we can do that together. But if you're trying to get in relationship with people who are not interested in that, then you're going to the wrong people. And then you're like, but they don't love me. I'm not lovable. You're not a good fit for those people. And you're making it about you instead of going to find people that actually want what you want. It's like, yeah, but like in that one, I got to pretend I'm not who I am. I got to lie about the shit I like. I got to pretend to like football. I don't like watching football on Sunday. That shit is exhausting. And people who do fantasy football leagues, no judgment. But I don't have the time. I find it so boring. I will never pretend to like shit I don't like. But what I will do, and I do this with Brussel sprouts, I told you, I don't eat Brussel sprouts because I hate them. But I'll try them every single time to see if all of a sudden something changes. And I'm like, oh, I actually do like them. And I'll tell you what everybody says to me, because you're probably going to say it. Hey, listen, you haven't had the ones that my grandma makes. You haven't had the ones that this. You haven't done this. And it's all the same. I tried it all. It doesn't taste good. It tastes like gross. Cabbage is so disgusting. But my point being, stop trying to make people who are not a fit. That's actually huge. Maybe one of the most important aspects of personal growth is to say, fuck it. Like, stop putting your energy in places that don't even want your energy. And then making a story that you're not worthy because you keep trying to do shit you don't want to. Like, it's not even fun. You know, it's not even fun. You're not even excited about it. You're excited about the continued torture and torment. You know? And so if I have beliefs like there's no good people out, I met every single gender, every single combination, every single person. I've met every type say there's no good people out there. Well, you aren't finding each other because you don't agree each other exist. You know? And even this idea of like, because we see this so much more in a gendered space, like there's not enough good men for good women. Then what a belief that is. As such jargon. First off, that's righteous. Second, that's arrogant. And like, if we have that belief, then how will we ever, and I hear that from both sides, but that's especially sort of a cultural narrative. And it says, hey, if you believe that there aren't, then you will not find them, because already the energetic of that belief, what good human would want to be in the space of that belief that they're trying to prove you wrong, that they're a good person, that they want to go to people who already believe that exists, you know? So this is the work, right? Is like, you might have learned because you learned from your parents and your grandparents and all the people in social media. We could talk about how Instagram just came out with a report that it creates like 1 in 3 body image issues for young women, for teens. Like, this shit isn't always healthy to be on. Like, who are you following? Do they make you feel good about your life? Do they speak truth into you? Do you feel truth resonate in your soul? Do they speak hope into you? Do you get expanded by the things you give your attention to? Or not? Like, if you're watching the news, you're just going to think everything is fucking ending all the time. And honestly, in a lot of ways, they want you to believe that so that you'll do all the shit they want. So you'll buy more shit, so you'll take more drugs. And it's like, you are the drug. Like, you're the one who's got it. You just need people to remind you that you got it. You know, like, one of the first moments of expansion, the greatest expansion you'll ever take, is to take responsibility for your life and who you want to be and what you want to create and how you want to relate. I used to be a pharmaceutical rep for 14 years. I'm repatterning that karma now. But you know what's so fascinating is when I started to learn about romantic relationships and relationships on such a deeper level, I started to recognize that one of the greatest causes of inflammation and stress is emotional dysregulation and painful, traumatic relationships. And I knew, like, I started to see these patterns in sort of autoimmune and all these types of things where I saw that often people don't have boundaries. They don't know who they are. They don't stand in their truth. They haven't been empowered. And as I was getting boundaries and discovering where I sold myself out and where I betrayed myself, I was like starting to feel enlivened, and I started to feel good, and my body started to feel good. And then my inflammation went down. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I've got it. And I started to see like, whoa, everybody else needs to start to learn about relationships. If you could learn how to create beautiful, peaceful, safe, loving relationships, and how to stand in your fucking power, and how to stop consuming shit that brings you down, you have to think to yourself with each question, with each moment in your life, is this contributing to who I want to be, or is it not? Is it keeping me the same? If you want to be average, that's great. I don't give a fuck. I don't even have a judgment or an idea of what average is. But if you want to be normal, if you want to be in that space, I don't care. Stay in it. But if there's a part of you that there's more to life, there's more. I have more in me. It shouldn't feel like this all the time. My relationships shouldn't feel like this. That's such a beautiful moment of invitation to say, where do I go next? What do I do now? What do I need to learn? What is bringing me down? It is not hard to be divided right now. It's actually the easiest thing. If anything, I'd say that divisiveness is lazy. It's lazy. It's lazy because it means you're just consuming the political leaders that are othering everybody. And that just contributes to more dehumanization. It is lazy to be divisive. It is the work to be unifying. It's the work to draw there's a great quote that when you draw a circle to exclude me, I'll draw a bigger circle to include you. And so draw bigger circles. One of the most powerful exercises I ever did was I took the time. It was a beautiful exercise. I forget what book it was from, but it said to begin to look at everybody as you would if you did look through the eyes of Christ, and it can be any person you want to be. But through the eyes of non-judgment, through the eyes of humanizing, through the eyes of seeing that someone else's belief is conditioned through, and the way they speak even is conditioned through their experience and their socialization, which is not meaning that we tolerate unacceptable behavior, but to say that we have compassion for it. We have compassion for it. And we need to be really mindful of where we put our energy and where we put our attention. So for both of those things, you need to take them back. And everywhere you sell yourself out and you pretend you like shit you don't like and you betray yourself, you actually are not even getting to be you in the relationship. That the relationship takes more energy than it gives you. Or maybe you take more energy from relationships than you give. And that's all about reclaiming your own energetics, your own body, your own sovereignty, your own beliefs, your own values. It has never been harder than right now in this moment in time to hold on to your values at the cost of not belonging. This is the work. This is collective trauma being healed, collective codependency. Can you stand true in what matters to you despite a tsunami of judgment and human conditioning? A tsunami. You should check my inbox. A tsunami. Because you're not going to say things that everybody likes. That's not the point. And I'm learning so much more. I read The Coddling of the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt. Such a great book. And, I'll often get someone who messages me and says, I'm disappointed. And I just got to speak to this because I'm a little tired of it. If you're coming at me, telling me that I'm disappointing you, I'm already going to tell you, I'm sorry that I didn't fit the framework of the belief and the narrow box that I have to fit in for who you want me to be and how I keep you comfortable. It's not my fucking job. My job is not to keep you comfortable. It's not to tell you things you want to hear. It's not to agree with you. There's a great line from the beginning of the book from Jonathan Haidt where he says, prepare the child for the road, not the road for the child. And I don't think there could be anything better to give us some context to what experiences we're in, which is just because you think the world should always agree with you and make you feel comfortable does not mean it should. That's not the job. It doesn't happen. That's not how it works. Not everyone's going to agree with you. And that's actually how we get to the truth. I had someone say recently that science is not up for debate. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's actually the process of science. That's actually it. That's actually what we should be doing. That's actually the conversation that we should be having. And that doesn't negate experience. It doesn't say something doesn't exist. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not. And I think we're in this strange time when we're so uncomfortable and so unable to hold discomfort that we try to cancel everything that makes us uncomfortable instead of learning how to sit in discomfort. And my invitation to anyone who sends those types of messages or says, I'm gonna unfollow you. I can't believe, thanks for letting me know. Bye. It's it's not my job to make it so you get to not experience discomfort because your parents didn't teach you that the world's uncomfortable.